8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Let me see. What's today? Today's Tuesday. That's all. See, talk about focus, which is the topic of today. Today is Tuesday, so I think that it's the 30th, and so tomorrow we have one more day of January. So I was going to say the last day of January, but that would have been incorrect. So good morning. My name is Karen Stacy, and you are tuned into WTF. Let's talk with Karen and Danielle. I am waiting for Danielle to join us. Um, Today's topic is actually, I can't remember what it was. No, it's how do you remain focused? How do you focus when life gets in the way? And so that is our topic of the day. I want to say thank you for tuning in. If you're listening to the show on the replay on any of your favorite podcast platforms, please make sure that you like and follow. And also, if you want to listen and interact live with us, you can do it right here. It's Real Talk with Karen Stacy .podbean.com, and you hit that follow button. This is a free app that you can use, and you can actually add comments down while we're live. So that's always fun. We love to hear your input. If you have anything to say about our topics, or you have suggestions for new topics, that would be awesome. We love it. So Danielle is probably doing, like, I don't know, 3,000 things right now, and she hasn't jumped on yet. So maybe I should start tap dancing. No, I'm only kidding. Listen, for any of you guys that live in the New York area, please come and visit me. I am up at a place called Franco Martini. It is in Croton on Hudson, which is in Westchester County, and we do live entertainment there, whether it be a DJ or live music and such. So it's a lot of fun, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So if you are in the New York area, make sure that you drop by and say hello. And let's see, should I start doing a tap dance now? I'm not sure what to do here because I don't have my co-host, but I'm sure she's going to be here any moment. So let's see. So let's talk about how you stay focused. And this is like a funny conversation because here I am not being focused, right? So how do you focus when you have so much going on? And that's a really good question because there's too many things happening at once, and it definitely becomes challenging to remain focused. Okay, so I see Danielle is here now. I have been talking, rambling for 4 minutes, talking to
I'm
myself.
sorry. I just got a call from the school. My son isn't feeling good. So I was talking to them and I was like,
Oh no.
oh, yeah,
Okay,
don't
so
do
you know
that.
what? We'll do a quick show today, so you can so you can go and get him. Does that work?
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Well, listen, mommy's come first. So can he wait a few minutes or do we need to reschedule?
No, he said, I told him, I said, Dylan, mommy's getting on her podcast. He's like, okay. He goes, I'm finishing up a test, but can you get me as soon as you can? So that's
All
that.
right. So there we go. So now we got to cut to the chase and get straight to the point.
That's it. Today's quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, well, you know what? Sometimes it's not a bad thing. And you know what? I think that that kind of goes with the topic of the day, right?
Right?
Is like focus.
Yes.
It's not easy to do because when you have 800 things happening at once, it's not easy to focus. So what would be your what would be your advice on that actually?
Well, my days go left all the time. So, I have 3 kids and a husband and a sister who lives with me and a dog who wants my attention and a multitude of things that happen at any given time. So when I really need to focus, um, I print out schedules or I write lists, and I literally prioritize the things that are the most important that need to be done. And I try very hard. If I'm on task, like there are certain things that I'll have to do, and I'll be like, okay, I have to do 10 things today. And I
Mhm.
only have maybe 2
8
hours or
seconds.
3 hours to do it. I will set timers, believe it or not, and I will give myself, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give myself 10 minutes to do this. And I will set a timer. And for whatever reasons, that kind of kickstarts me into whatever I have to do. And I will try to see if I can get it done in the 10 minutes that I allotted myself.
Yep.
Or I plan my day, right? So I'm like, okay, I have to go here, 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 I have to go here. And then I'll say, okay, I'll start from the furthest points and then I'll work my way home because, I still have to get the kids by 2:30. And then who's got tennis, who's got the orthodontist, who's got theater camp, then I got to do dinner, blah, 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 blah. So I'm all over the place. And then just hope that at no point in the day
It gets interrupted.
that somebody throws a fucking golden monkey wrench and interrupts my whole flow, which
Right.
which happens, but
Yeah. Well, look, it perfect, perfect example, right? Like you had to jump on and were ready to be on at 11, and at probably like 10:59, you got the phone call that your son wasn't feeling good, right?
correct.
So and so it throws you off, especially like if everybody just was listening. Danielle is a list person, and so when you're kind of regimented like that, and I dare I say anal, you get thrown off when things happen. Good morning, Davidson. Good morning, Orlando. Yeah, so that happens a lot. Like, and where like there are some people that don't know how to roll with it, right? And so some people just can only focus or can only stay on track when they're following said list, right? But a timer is a very interesting thing. I actually used to do that with my son. One of his teachers told me about that because you know people that have the tendency to dilly dally, i.e., children. Not that most adults aren't the same way, but if you do, you set a timer and you set a reminder, then you're able to, stay on track. Davidson, my name is Karen Stacy, and Danielle is my co-host there. Danielle, say hi.
Hello.
So that's who we are. Um, and we are discussing how do you stay focused when life gets crazy or
Well,
hectic
like, and
or
in my 20s, I was able to rattle off, 10 things that I could do and not have to worry about it. As you get older and kids come into play and your husband and life and just, extra school and activities, you have no choice. You have to. Siri and Alexa are my best friends, and they keep me very going. And I'm like, oh, set a reminder, set this, put this on my calendar, da da da. And you just realize there's so much that incorporates a day from the minute you wake, right? It's up at 5:30, lunches, get the kids off to school, this, that, come home, and listen, I'm talking from a woman's perspective, and then work and still come home and take care of the kids and take them to extra school activities and make sure the groceries done, I do the bulk of the bulk of the work in the house, right? I pay the bills, I do the groceries, I do the cleaning, I do the laundry, I do the cooking. My husband goes to work and he comes home. God bless him. So so there's a lot to do, and
yeah.
who has to go here after school, but then who has to come home because they have to be at tennis, and you're trying to pull yourself in a million different directions. And then what loses focus? Your relationship with your husband or your wife, because you're so
Or your
busy,
children.
or your
Or your
children because
children.
right. Like I'm there to take my child to tennis, but while she's playing tennis, I'm on my phone making phone calls to whoever I have to make phone calls to, trying to, process any other stuff. So am I really giving her my attention? No, I'm just a figure. Like
Distracted. Well,
I'm there
that's the
by
whole
life.
thing. Right. And that's the thing that definitely, is that is the thing that bothers me the most, is that we are distracted. for lack of a better word. And why are we distracted? Because there's too many things to do at one time and we are all overstimulated. So we're distracted because, like I'm trying to have a conversation, let's just say for argument's sake, with my kid. And, he's looking at his phone, my phone rings. And it's like, okay, put the fucking phone down and like, let's talk for a minute, So he'll come home from, so like, I'm a big, like, advocator of we all sit down and eat dinner together, right? Now, there isn't all, it's just me and my son at this point. But when my husband was alive, that was a thing. And when he grew up, um he they didn't all sit down at the table together. Like his mother would cook, leave the food on the stove, and whoever came home when ate, and she would sit on the couch and she would eat dinner and or whatever, and then whoever else ate and ate. And I was raised differently where we all sat down and ate dinner together. Now my family had a business and we worked, and we didn't come home, we were sitting down for dinner at 9 o'clock at night. So, but we still all sat down, and we did not have a TV in the living room. We never had a TV in the living room because my father said, you don't watch TV in the living room. You live in the living room, right? And you have to interact and speak and talk to your family or whatever. So that got lost in a big way because we don't have the ability to shut down, basically. And that's really, in my opinion, and what I've learned over the past years and trying to heal and go on from things is that you must shut down. And most people do not know how to shut down and shut out, right? So, I mean, I know I've had this conversation with you a number of times as well, where I'm like, you know what? You need to like unplug that phone, like, or, not unplug, but, shut the phone down, and just don't respond for a few minutes because there's just too much going on at one point and be you can't be, there. You can't give your all with things if you're all over the place. And so that's the part that people think. And so what does that mean? It's self-care. It's being selfish. Well, according to
And
others.
it's true, right? Because if you find yourself in a situation where you're being stretched to, okay, I'll give you a case in point. These last 2 weeks, my daughter's turned 13. I was planning parties. I was doing all of this stuff, and I stretched myself between the holidays and everything. My father's death anniversary is coming, so I'm emotional, and I pulled myself and I pulled myself and I pulled myself to do all of these things, and I stretched myself so thin. I got and have
Nothing
been
else.
so cranky, and I have
Yep.
been so emotional and nasty because I'm
Mm-hmm.
exhausted, and I am, between taking care of my kids, my house, my husband, my stuff, and my own mental health, because the day is coming and I'm in my feelings, and I'm trying to do everything to block it all out, right? I did this to myself,
Yeah.
trying to block it all out. And so you do more stuff and you do more stuff because you want to keep busy. You want to keep busy. And then you find yourself at your wits, literally at your wits ends, because my kids looked at me the other day, what the fuck is
Yep.
wrong with you? You know?
Yeah, well, because you're pouring from an empty cup.
Right.
So, this is the thing, and it's funny because I just had this conversation with someone the other day. And I say this all the time, and anybody that knows me, anybody that's listened to my show, I always say, my life, I live by this one thing. When we're on an airplane and the cabin pressure changes, right? And the stewardess is telling you the cabin pressure, if the cabin pressure changes and the masks come down, please put the mask on yourself first before helping others. Now, most of us, especially the nurturers and the givers, will look to put that mask on someone else first, because that's what we do. But the thing is that if you put the mask on someone else first, then you're of no good to anybody because you can't breathe and you're going to die. So if you put the mask on yourself first, think of all the people that you can help. So we are raised a certain way. we have a certain like belief in things, and so we spread ourselves too thin because we want to help, we want to fix. Now again, that's the giver. The taker would grab that mask and put the mask on and look at you like, damn, you should really put one on and
Right.
not think twice about it, right? But us as a giver, we have to be conscious that we have nothing to give if we have nothing. So, God bless people that haven't been at the depths of, doom, if you will. But I did learn that. And when I lost my husband and I had no idea how to breathe, and all I had in me was literally 3 breaths, I would take 2 of them, and that other breath I had went to my kid. So you have to know, like you said earlier, you have to prioritize. So if you're not in the right place, you can't put yourself in a place. So in other words, if you are not able to handle your own stuff, you certainly can't handle someone else's. But the funny thing is that isn't it always easier to help someone else than to actually do the
Help
work and
yourself.
help yourself?
Yes. Yeah.
That is always the thing. Yeah. Hi, good morning, Sylvia. Good morning, Lauren. You tell me that all the time. It's so true. I do. I practice what I preach. And when people meet me in real life and they're like, oh my God, you sound just like on your show, I'm like, hello. Yeah, this is real life. And I mean, and Danielle, I've said this to you a number of times as well,
Yeah.
haven't I?
Yes. It was like the other day I want to say yelling at my children, but I was yelling at my children, and I was stressed out, right? And again, when you're having a hard time focusing and you feel yourself spread too thin, you
You
reach for
snap.
others. You snap, right? But you reach for others to help, right? So, but they're children, right? They're 13. They don't want to help. So, so, I was having a situation and I asked somebody to go get me something. And both of them looked at each other. It was like a Mexican standoff between the both of them. No, I'm not doing it. You do it. No, I'm not going to do it. You do it. Right. So I lost my mind, right? Because I said to them, you're sitting here fighting with each other. They're twins. It's a pissing match to see who has more control over the other one. It's the power struggle, right?
Right.
I said, the only person you're hurting is me. I asked you to do something for me.
Right.
Right. So, and then it has started a thing. Yeah, but I said, listen to me. Okay. What you girls do not understand, if I'm asking you for help, it's because I need your help. Mommy does everything. I do all the things and it's fine. But, what you guys are failing to understand is when you don't help, when I ask for help, and that's for my son, my husband, my daughters, when I ask you for help and you don't help, you're hurting me, right? So I go, let me ask you a question. Your friends, when your friends don't do something and they hurt you, do you want to stay their friends? They're like, no. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally sometimes, and I know there are fathers and mothers out there that I personally feel victimized by my family, my kids and my husband.
I love
Personally, I
you.
do. I am like, I'm like the token jerk in the house and they just abuse me. But I'm
A
also
little
type A
bit.
personality and I need to
You
control
want
everything.
it done right. So I mean, you and I have had this conversation
Right.
before, and I tell you that all the time. So you can't have it both ways.
Right.
But
So yes. So because I'm this way, I do stretch myself thin, and a lot of it is my fault, and I get it. But I have been trying to be better about putting responsibilities on them to ease some of my burden. Yeah,
right,
okay, and I am running into a lot of obstacles. Okay, so,
right,
but again, I have the conversation. So if somebody is mean to you, or so you ask somebody to help you and they don't help you, and they do this repeatedly, are you going to continue to be their friend? My daughters are
right,
like, well, no, right? I go, okay. So I'm your mom, right?
right,
And I'm not going to leave you. Yeah, I'm not going to
right.
like run away and leave you and not be your mom anymore. But shit, if I don't fucking want to, because and they just looked at me. I'm like, think about it. If somebody's mean to you and you don't want to be friends with them, I'm obligated to be your mom because I'm your mom. You're hurting my feelings, and you're not. So, I try to explain things to them that way in a younger
Yep.
mindset so they can understand that it's just not mommy being like losing her mind, like, "You do the dishes." Um,
Right.
but, I what I am realizing is not that I can't do it all. I don't want to be responsible to do it all
Well,
either.
that's the whole thing, right? So again, the topic is, how do you stay focused when all of these things, go on in life, right?
Right.
So it is challenging to do so because you keep getting veered off the path. So now, I've been super busy lately and I have a lot of things going on a personal level as well. And so like for instance, my son has a party on Friday, right? And so we talked about it like a couple of weeks ago where my son was like, Ma, we really got to figure out what I'm going to wear. I said, okay. So he has a habit of doing this. Like he'll tell me, oh, Ma, I need a math notebook. And he tells me like in the car. I go, Noah, I'm going to forget that by the time we get home. You need to tell me when I'm like sitting down and have the ability to order it for you because
Right.
I'm not going to remember. Okay.
Correct.
So like the same thing. So now like yesterday, he says to me, "Oh yeah, we got to figure out what I'm wearing." I go, "It's freaking Monday. Are you kidding me right now?" I said, "You've been on pretend. Did you look at anything? Because he's so like he's such a guy. Like he doesn't, he's not picky, but he has his own kind of a style, which is like a non-style. Like I can't explain it. So he don't like, no, I don't like that. No, I don't like the stitching. No, I don't like that. So I'm like, when he was younger, I would just get him stuff and he never gave me pushback. He always liked what I would get him. Now,
Yeah,
of course, he's a
yeah, my,
teenager, whatever, right? So now I'm like, all right, so let me get this straight. I go, you're a big boy, right? You could do X, Y, and Z on your own. Yeah, Ma, I don't need you. But get off TikTok and get on freaking Amazon and find a goddamn pair of shoes you like. Find a pair of pants you like. My son has not worn a pair of jeans or actual pants since he's probably 5. He will only wear sweatpants or like cargo, like like a silky material. He does not he has never put on a pair of jeans.
my son
And I'm
either.
like, so what the hell am I supposed to freaking get for you? Like, and now you want to look nice. Well, you can't look nice in sweatpants, or whatever. So you got to either wear your school clothes or we're going back and forth or whatever. And I said to him, not for nothing. You don't think mommy isn't busy enough? You can't handle looking at stuff and then you show it to me and then I could help you put it all together. And then God forbid, no, you got to try this on. Oh my God. Oh, I hate doing it. You better shut up, drop your freaking drawers and put these on. I don't want to hear it. And
My
it's
son does the
all
same thing. Yeah, my son does the same
focus,
thing. Mm-hmm.
focus on what you have to do. I am putting this whole party together. How did I manage to do all that? And you can't freaking pick out a pair of freaking shoes. Like, really? And it makes you crazy because how much more are you supposed to do?
Listen,
So,
my son this morning put on one Croc and says, and he's standing in front of the shoe bin. Uh, I don't know where my other
where's
Croc
the other
is.
one?
It was here last night. I'm like, okay, well, all the shoes are in the bin, Dylan. Well, this one wasn't in the bin. Oh, okay. Well, maybe somebody. And he's
So
just
maybe
stood there.
somebody broke in the middle. There's I tell Noah that maybe someone broke in the middle of the night and took your shoe
Right. And he's just stood there, like stood there. And Paige happened to put her tennis racket on top of the shoe
on
bin and
top of it.
it was covering the Croc. But he literally sat there for like 2 minutes, just aimlessly staring at this bin. And I said, oh my God, I'm doomed. Like, I'm fucking,
Well,
I mean?
that is your son. He's and he'll wait because you'll find it. And get it. So it is funny. And again, it's like we really. I keep saying it to my kid too, and I say it to everybody. I said this to somebody the other day that's suffering from anxiety. I said, let's think about it this way, and this is an analogy I want anybody listening to remember. Our lives have become too many open windows, meaning if you have your computer and you start looking for something, then you go to something else, so now you have 10 windows open in the background and you wonder why your computer is so damn slow.
Right.
That's why. So what do you got to do? You got to shut down those windows so that your computer can work. So that's what your brain and your life looks like. So if you have all these things going on, you can't focus on anything because you're all over the place.
Right.
So
And what
those
and right, and what suffers, right? Most of the
right,
time parent
you.
most of the time parents will give their energy to their children. So the spouse
Yep. As
suffers.
you should.
And so the spouse suffers and the relationship suffers, which is why a lot of marriages is like, oh, they fall apart
Right.
because you're busy and you're
You
tired and
don't make time. You don't make time for what you're actually being busy for.
right. So by the time you guys crawl into bed, you're like, oh my
Yeah,
God,
don't
I'm
touch
so
me. I'm
tired. Don't
exhausted.
touch me. I'm exhausted.
Right.
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 But we live in a society now and in a world, both parents have to work for the most part. Kids, colleges and stuff like that won't even look at kids that don't have extra activities after school. So you're running the kids around to 10 different places. Nobody's eating dinner until 8 o'clock at night. Then you have to clean up. And then there's other household stuff that has to happen. The husband's tired from working all day too. And then before you
Yep.
know it, it's 9 o'clock, you're crawling into bed. And somewhere along the lines, you've lost each other.
Right. And that's exactly what I meant earlier. And that is a focus. And what happens is that most people take for granted what they know is a constant. So, like, I know for myself, that I am a very loyal person. And most people will take that loyalty for granted. They will fight for a different relationship, but they won't fight for my relationship with them because they know Karen's not going anywhere. Karen
Right.
wouldn't do that. And so, what the reward is for being loyal to someone and being a true blue, there for you is that you are the one, they are the ones that get the least of you. The people that get the most of you are the ones that are so demanding and that you will like let down, if you will, right? So you will give that to them. And so it's like, I remember, when my husband was working, and this will ring true to anybody that busts their ass at work, right? So he would bust his ass at work, and he knew, he was a painter, he knew all the formulas, he knew all the rooms, he knew everything. And so he was expected to do all those things. But then the guy that always came in late, the guy that never got anything done, no one expected him to do anything. So he was allowed to not do anything. And my husband, who was getting paid the same amount of money as this guy, was
Focus
doing
behind.
everything.
Yeah.
So this is what happens. And so people take these things for granted. And yes, I always said that when I am fortunate enough to have a happy relationship and love and life, or whatever the hell you want to call it, that I would never take those things for granted. And it's not easy to do because our focus is not necessarily always in the right place. So we need to focus on the priorities. Unfortunately, there are a lot of them, but the most important priority is you. Because without you putting that mask on so that you can breathe and help others, you are no good to anybody else. So for those of you that find that to be selfish, it is not. It is selfless, because that is how you can be a better you. And the better you are, the better you are to others. So, do not lack in focus, and do not compromise that. And I mean, I've had this conversation with you, Danielle. I mean, I've had this conversation with a lot of my friends, because we are all the same. Like you said, type A personalities. Everybody wants things done a certain way. I said it to the person I was talking to the other day. I mean, you could walk in my house, and some days it could look like pristine, and other days it could look like, the Tasmanian devil, came through it, right? And you know what? I don't give a shit anymore, because if I have 10, iotas of energy, and I use all 10 on cleaning the house, now I'm done. So guess what? Tomorrow I might have 20. So tomorrow I'll clean the house, and that depends. I mean, granted, I'm not, in a pigsty, but at the same token, it's not like I would want to invite anybody over. So it priorities, and
But right.
spreading yourself.
Yeah, but listen. I go through this house on a daily basis, and the last week I cleaned it. I mean, top to bottom. I even cleaned the walls. I was getting ready for the girls' parties. I mean, I was up 6 in the morning, didn't go to sleep till 10 o'clock at night, and then within 2 days, the house to me looked like a trash can. I was like,
Upside down.
"What the fuck?" Excuse my
Yeah.
language. I was like,
Yep.
and I looked at the kids. I'm like, really? Like,
Right.
do not watch me like break my behind. I mean,
Right.
I shampooed the couches, the rugs.
Yep.
I washed the walls. I mean, the house was like perfect. Two
Right.
days, 2 days upside down. And
Well,
I
if
go,
it makes you feel any better, I only have one other person in this house and the same thing happens. At least you're four other people in that. Actually, more. You have five other people in the house.
5 other people in the
So,
house.
I mean, so that at least makes a little bit, more sense. But yeah, that's the whole point. So if you're doing it because you want it to be a certain way, that's one thing. But, trying to make everybody happy, and losing yourself in the process is a definite no-go. And a lot of us don't realize that. So, my again, focus is everything, and we lose focus. So it's like meditating, right? So I listen to meditations, but I don't know that I actually ever go into like this meditative state. Like people talk about, like, they feel like they're floating, they're, whatever. And that must be a wonderful feeling. I think maybe I experienced that for like a half a second once, but the whole reason why you meditate is to quiet the mind. Now, you can't quiet the mind when you have all of these windows open, right? Because you're trying to quiet the mind and you're thinking, all right, wait, okay, I gotta make sure that oh, I gotta go food shopping today, and then I gotta call my father, and I gotta check on this, and you're thinking about all of these things, and like you can't focus
That's
because you
usually what
keep.
happens to me when I'm trying to go to sleep.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And that's when you're supposed to. So when you try to meditate, what they tell you is to quiet things. So, like, if you're laying there and you're like, oh, it's quiet, and then you're like, oh, shit, I forgot to freaking lock the door. And you're supposed to, like, let that go and start breathing. And then you start breathing and you're like, okay, this feels good. And then you're like, oh, son of a bitch, I got to call the insurance company tomorrow. And you're like, nope. And you got to push that out of your mind, and then you're pushing it out of your mind and you're trying to concentrate, and then the phone rings, and so that's why you're supposed to meditate, because you're supposed to push all of these thoughts out of your mind. And so if you have to interrupt the thoughts, and a lot of times we don't do that, we get entangled in the thoughts. So, and I, believe me, I try to practice what I preach, but I know what I'm supposed
Well,
to do.
again, and that's why I do my list, right? Because if I have my list in front of me and I'm like, okay, I'm cleaning or I'm doing this right now. Like
Right.
I'll be in the middle of, like yesterday I was starting to clean my room and then of course I got sidetracked. But like if I said, okay, I'm doing this right now, like I'm going to my kitchen, I'm bleaching down my cabinets, I'm doing all the things. And then all of a sudden I'll leave the room for something and then something else
Right.
catches my attention. I
Right.
stop and I'm like,
Right.
wait, that's on my list, but it's not
Yep.
the thing to do next. And then I
I'm
go back
not
to my
there
list and
yet.
I'm like, I'm in my kitchen. And
That's
I
good
force myself
to stay.
to stay in the kitchen
Yep. Yep.
before I have, like I said, 10 windows open and nothing completed. And
Yes.
then right. And then
But
I go ahead.
the funny thing is that what we tend to do, right? And I did this, I almost did this today. Tell me that this isn't true. What we tend to do is we have all of these things, we make a list or whatever, and the one thing that is probably the healthiest thing for you to do for you is the one thing that you'll probably omit from the day.
Listen,
Like,
I clean
so,
every room in this house and my bedroom is always upside down because it's the place that I love the most, right? It's my little sanctuary, my bedroom, but it's the place I
yeah.
get to last
Yeah.
always,
Uh,
right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is what happens. So it's also working out, for instance, or doing something for
Yes, I was
yourself. So
supposed to
now
do that at 7:30 this morning. I still
thank
haven't done
you.
it, by the way.
Thank you. And that is my point. So, it, like for me, I have a very busy day today where I have to keep myself on focus, right? And so I'm like, all right, let me see. And I got to get a workout in, and then I got to do this. And I'm like, well, maybe, all right, so forget it. I won't do the workout because I got to take it, whatever. And then I'm like, I have this like short workout that I do, a 15-minute workout, and it really like kicks your ass. And I said, really, Karen, you can't stop for 15 minutes and do this? I said, no, this is not acceptable. You're doing your workout. Now, did my phone, I was getting text messages, this, that, and the other. No, I can stop for 15 goddamn minutes and work out because that's what I need to do to keep me sane and to keep me, but I push because I don't want to do it. I want to sit on the couch and drink my coffee and make my phone calls and snuggle with the dog and whatever. But you know what? No, get it, get moving and stay focused. So for anybody out there that gets lost in their day, like Danielle was saying, make a list. And you know what? Sometimes don't overwhelm yourself. I mean, Danielle has lists, that go on for, days, right? But even if you make just a list, like I was saying to somebody the other day, when you are at your most depleted time, when you're going through something, whether you're suffering from depression, you're suffering from anxiety, you're suffering from loss, hardship, whatever the case may be, choose one thing. Just do one thing so that you accomplish one
Yeah.
thing in a day. And if you're able to accomplish that one thing and you have a little more in you, then great. But if
Right.
not, you accomplish the one thing. And I also will say that sometimes you can allow yourself not to. And I know I've said it to you before. You know what? So you were like, you've said to me, well, I got to work out and I got to do this. And I said, listen to me. Your body is telling you no. Listen to your body. Yes, sit on the couch. Don't sit on the couch tomorrow, but sit on the couch today
I slept until
because
10:40 in the morning yesterday, like who the hell I thought I was. And it was
but
great.
that's sometimes you do need to do that. And it's okay. You have to give yourself permission to do so. That is what I mean by self care, because you are no good to anyone else if you are not good to yourself.
Right. And what
So
happens is if you spread yourself so thin and you're doing everything and you're not
you're
getting
empty.
assistance, not only are
Yep.
you empty, you start to become
Angry,
resentful.
resentful. Yep.
Yes. And it
Depleted.
poisons, it's completely poisons every relationship around you because then, you take it out on people, you snip or you
Yes.
snack, and then they're like, what's wrong with you? And
Yeah,
unless
like hello.
right. And unless you verbalize and you sit back and you say, well, I'm upset because of this. And most of us don't do that, right? We just snip and we snap and we keep it moving.
Most of us aren't aware that that's why we're doing that until we stop and think.
Right. Like shit. Like I've been doing this. They don't help. They're sitting there watching me. They all come, like I said, I do it, right? Kids come home, they're tired, they go to sleep. The husband comes home, he's tired, they go to sleep. I've been up since 5:30 in the morning. Nobody cares that I'm tired. So, and then if I'm having extremely aggressive day because I'm trying to do too much at one time and it's 6:30 and I haven't gotten dinner on, what's for dinner, mom? And everybody's at me, I get nasty. And then
Hmm.
they look at me and they're like, what's wrong with you, mom?
Yeah.
You know? And you have to sit back and yeah, you're resentful that the whole house is sleeping, even the dog is sleeping, everybody's happy, and you're miserable. You're miserable because you still have dinner to cook and then dinner to clean up and everything else. But it's part of life. But you
Eh.
you don't realize, and then you cause a divide, right? Because then your kids don't want to be bothered with you. You're nasty. They go upstairs to their room and they're like, I don't want to deal with her. And then your husband's like, or your wife is like, oh Jesus Christ, look at this attitude
Right.
again. And then they go into the other living room or they go somewhere or because they don't want to deal with you.
Yep.
And then you're sitting there by yourself, just stewing.
Right. See, I would wake everybody up in the house. See, I don't have that issue anymore, but I would wake everybody up in the house and I would be like, okay, well, you could do this and you could do that and you could go fuck yourself and I'm out of here. So
Right.
like I get twisted with that kind of stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like, if my son goes a little, whatever, I'll look at him like if there's no dinner and I didn't make anything, he won't ask me. Like he'll look at me and he'll be like, are you like are you cooking or should I like make myself something? Because he knows damn well, like, don't even ask me that. I mean, there's always dinner, but on the rare occasion, like I'll say to him, like I love when I work on the weekends because we have like they make like just awesome pizza, and so like I bring home, if you're at a pizzeria, whatever pizza's left over, they normally will throw it out, unfortunately, if it wasn't sold. So, when you have a 14-year-old at home, there is a garbage disposal, readily available,
And
that's
awake.
used. So,
And
right.
awake. Yeah.
So so I bring that home, and I'll say to him, like, if, I work, or whatever on the Saturday, I go, Sunday, if we don't go out with my dad, I'm like, that's what we're eating today, because I'm not cooking. And he's like, okay, fine with me, but it's a lot of stress, and we put a lot of the stress on ourselves. So I think that, like, the moral of the story is that I've said this to you, I say it to a lot of people. Do not put that stress on yourself. You are only human. Does that
Yeah.
mean that you shouldn't do what you're supposed to do? No, it does not. But it also means that sometimes we need to lick our wounds so that we can be better the next day. If you're sick, you're not going to get well if you don't rest. Okay. I don't care. Maybe you need medication or whatever, but most people that I know, resting is the worst thing you could ask somebody to do. I can't rest. I have to do this. I have to do that. Well, guess what? When your body decides that it's no
Because
longer
it's
going to
forced
function,
incarceration. That's why.
right. But the thing is that, but right. And meanwhile, you got the ankle monitor on, and you're trying to see how far out you could get, right?
Right,
So
of course.
this doesn't work. So your body is innately, like, it knows innately, we need to shut down right now because we're not going to function. So you have to listen to your body talk to you, and you have to say, oh, okay, well, you know what? I think today I'm going to do as little as possible. And I will do that. I will stay in the quiet. I don't want to talk on the phone. I haven't put my TV or a radio on the entire morning so far.
What?
And like, yeah, I do quiet. I need fucking quiet
You know
because
what
I
I
can't.
go
What?
ahead. Because you can't what you need to I don't know.
I gotta, my brain, I cannot, it's too much. And this is all part of it. We are overstimulated, and it's energy. And when you're talking on the phone, when you're, especially when I do a show, when I work, I put everything I have into that. And I try to give all that energy so that whoever needs it will grab it and it will help them. But it depletes you at the end of it. So you must always, you have to, if you use your phone and your phone has no battery, what do you got to do? You got to charge it, because if you don't charge the phone, it ain't turning on. So you have to remember that and think about that for yourself. When you are trying to focus, you need to recharge your battery, because it ain't working if you don't have it. You can't pour
And
from an
you
empty cup.
right. And you have to figure out what works best for you. Like you said, I've learned when I was in my 20s and 30s and I was working, I don't understand how I was capable of getting so many things done in such a small amount of time when I worked all day long. By the way, just so you, I was much more efficient when I was working than I
Because
am
you're
now.
in a different mode, that's why.
Right.
And
So
you're and not to interrupt you, but those were all, like, not easily obtained, but the list of things pertain to you and your world. Pertain to you and your job and you and your world, not 57 other things.
no, I mean, even still, like paying the bills, cleaning the house. Like again, maybe it was just because I was in my 20s and 30s and now I'm in my 50s and I'm tired. But I was so much more efficient back then. And, and obviously as time goes on and, you get a little older, I hate to say we tend to forget things like, oh crap, and forget. And I have realized I will literally sit on the couch the night before in the morning and be like, I got to do this. I have to call this person. I have to do that. I have to mail out
Yep.
this. I have to do this. I have to do this. I
Yep.
have to do that. And and
It's
if I
overwhelming.
don't finish it all in a day, okay, that's fine. But it gives me a point of reference to go back to, so that this way I don't sit back and say, crap, I totally forgot to do that.
Yep.
So, and I do, and I have a book, and I keep everything in the book, and then I cross it out, and I write the date next to it when I completed it, so that if I ever have to go back and reference it, like, oh, I did that on such and such day, and I pay my bills. I have an Excel spreadsheet, and I put out the days that I pay the bills, and I color code everything on my Excel spreadsheet. And that's the only way that I feel satisfied, like, okay, I did it. Like, I know it's completed.
Yeah.
I did it, and I can put it behind me. And that's really one of
It's
the
so
only things
funny.
that helps me clear my mind.
I know, and you know that I am like the bipolar opposite of that. I'm like organized chaos. I'm like, wait a minute, I know I wrote that down on a piece of paper, and underneath 37 other pieces, I'm like, oh, here it is.
Yeah.
So I am so not that way. But you know what? Again, the topic today was, how do you focus when life gets crazy and in the way? So you have to find like your sweet spot. So like, Danielle is a very, like regimented person, and so she color codes and she does all that. And most of my friends are like that, I have to say. Like I can, the three ladies, three of the ladies that are the closest to me, you all have the exact same personality. And then one of my other, BFFs, her and I have a similar personality where we're kind of more all over the place. But the three of you are lists and checks and balance and all of that. And it is really, it's interesting. But that's how you guys stay on top of things. So you have to find what works for you and what will keep you focused. But the only thing that I do keep wanting to drill into people's heads is that you can't focus if you are all over the place, and you can't produce if you're setting yourself up for failure. If you have too much on your plate, you already can't breathe, and now you're not going to function properly. And you have to prioritize what is important in your day. So
Right.
although yes, life is important and you got to pay the bills, you got to do this, you got to do that, I get all of that. But at the end of the day, remember why you're doing it. You're doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your family, you're doing it for your loved ones. So let's not neglect the reason why we do everything, because that should be your priority. Your priority should be making sure that you do say good morning to your best friend, to your children, to your spouse, your whatever significant other, whatever. The little things in life, taking that moment to say I love you, and being there for those people, and allowing them to be there for you. That is the most important thing, and that's what you have to focus on, because the bills are always going to be there. The house is, the cleanliness or the dirtiness of the house is always going to be there. But you know what? Tomorrow is not promised.
Promise. Let
So
it be.
you must be in the moment, and you can't be in the moment when you have 27 things going on at once. So if there's something I can just, convey, that would be it. And like, for instance, you're doing this call now. I know we need to end it because you have to go pick up your kid. And again, reminding everyone to prioritize. Those are the things that are important, because the truth of the matter is that whatever you have to do today won't it's irrelevant whether it happens or not, because you're going to go pick up your son now. And if your son needs you, the house isn't getting cleaned, the laundry isn't getting done, dinner isn't getting cooked, and guess what? Everyone will survive. So
You're right, Kat. You are right. Take the time,
that
crawl up
that's
on the
it.
couch and watch that terrible anime show with your children. you know,
Whatever it is, or
Whatever it
listen to
is,
the
just spend
stupid
time with
TikTok
them.
shit and all of that. If I heard more Taylor Swift and football and
Oh my
this and
God.
oh my
My
God,
husband went
please.
to a Travis Scott concert with Dylan on Sunday.
Yes,
My husband was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to go. I don't want to go." And he winds up they had the most wonderful bonding moment. Like, oh my God, like I had such a good time with my son. I made such a great memory with my son. And I was so
that's what it's
happy
all
for
about.
him. And I was so happy for him. I sit here with my daughters this morning, 5:30 in the morning. Paige wakes me up, "Mommy, can you do my hair?" And we've been trying to practice on doing hairstyles because she's a teenager now and she wants to do things.
Yep.
And those are my moments. I tell her, can
Yep.
you try like not waiting to the last minute? Like, could you warn me? Like, Mom, could you get up in the morning to do my hair? Because
Right.
waking me at 5:30 and I'm oblivious. I'm not.
Right.
I'm not thinking hair.
Focused. You're
Right.
not focused.
I'm not
You're
focused.
not focused.
And it took me a hot
Yep.
minute to try to like get those parts right because I was
Yep.
not there with her at 5:30 in the morning.
Focused. Yeah.
But
Well, who is? What?
those are the things,
Those are
like
the things.
I tried.
Absolutely. And believe me, my Sunday, just so you know, the plans were wrapped around the fact that my son had to play with your son and he had a time frame because he was going to the concert with his, I didn't know it was with his father, but he's like, well, Ma, I got to do this and that. But Dylan's waiting for me. And I'm like, and so we had family come over because we hadn't seen them. And I said, well, you're going to have to get a time frame with Dylan and you got to be with your family and then you got to do your chores. So whatever the case may be. So I tortured him and he was, with the family for a little while and he kept looking at me. And I said to him and I was like, okay, you can go up now. And he went upstairs. But again, priority, you need to be with your family because this is what it's all about, is the people that it's not about money. It's not about anything. Remember, time is the one thing you can never get back. You
That's the truth.
cannot ever buy back time. And if you're so focused on all the shit you got to get done in a day, you forget about the reason why you're doing all of those things in the first place. So we're going to leave you with that.
Yep, that's perfect.
Stay focused, make a list, check it twice. And if it gets done, it gets done. If it doesn't, tomorrow's another day, God willing. So, just make sure to try not to overwhelm yourself. Try to just take it as it comes. And if you can't, shut it down. Make sure all of those windows are shut down and you're concentrating on one thing at a time, because then you will become overwhelmed. And that's how you get anxious. So let's focus on all of that. I hope that Danielle, that your son feels better. I'm sure you'll give me an update. Thank you to everybody that tuned in to WTF with Karen and Danielle. We will see you guys again next Tuesday at 11 a.m. And don't forget to like and follow so you know when we are live. So you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Bye, Karen.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.